What's going on, everybody? Today we're here with Nakia Codie, Pittsburgh Steelers DB. How are you, man?
Oh, man, pretty good. No complaints. Just a little cold in Texas today, so that sucks.
Oh, yeah. It's usually not cold over there, is it?
No, we don't get weather like this too often, so it'll be gone by this weekend.
Yeah, we get pounded up here. We're over in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah, nah, I only come there in the summer. That's it. That is it.
Yeah.
I actually just all the snow off my car.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's constantly snowing like every day.
See, it's 45 today, and that's cold to us.
Oh.
Wow, that's kind of nice for us. So my first question that I wanted to ask you was, what was your favorite level of the NFL? Or not of the NFL, sorry, of football.
My favorite level was probably college. I met some. I got some bonds with some guys that'll be there for the rest of my life. You know, that's back when I first came. I was a teenager trying to learn myself, trying to get into your own little space. So college is probably the best for me, without a doubt. Coming from a boy to a man, building those bonds, and I'm still friends with a lot of them. I mean, we hang out, we talk, we go out to eat. I do the same with former NFL players, but I'm probably a little bit closer to college players than I was NFL.
Sorry, 1 second.
Yep.
All right, I'm sorry about that here. All right. Sorry about that.
No problem.
What did it feel like for you to get an interception in the NFL?
I'll never forget that interception. Actually, it was against Phillip Rivers. I think it was Christmas Eve, maybe 23rd or 24th. I'm not sure. And we were playing in San Diego. Happens to be the last game of the season that particular year. But yeah, it was cold in Pittsburgh, of course. So Coach Cowher, actually, we went like 4 days earlier to go to California. We just worked out there for 4 days and then played. So it's kind of a vacation that week, but it was spectacular. I'd never forget. I mean, it was a coverage. It was a two-man coverage. So you had man-to-man underneath, two safeties over the top. And I mean, the receiver was covered. And I'm sitting there looking like, okay, Phillip keeps looking at this receiver. There's no way he's going to throw this ball. And all of a sudden, he threw the ball up in the air, got me an interception. I was a little nervous. I cratered it a little bit. I only got probably 13 yards on return, but it was fantastic. I'll never forget that one, man. That was never thought it had happened, but it did. So it was, man, I can't. It's hard to put into words, honestly.
Yeah, I watched the clip, and it really was. It was good coverage. I don't know why he threw that ball, but yeah, you grabbed it. You got a good return off of it too, which usually, like, if you get an interception, the receiver's right there, but you got, I think it was 13, 14 yards. It was definitely a really good return. What was it like playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers? I mean, this is a franchise that I consider to be the best in the NFL.
I'm telling you, man, from going from Detroit to Pittsburgh, it was night and day. Detroit, the coaches then, they would degrade you. They would talk down on you. They would try to belittle you. They would curse at you. And, I mean, it was just terrible. I mean, I saw some guys quit. I remember a second-round draft pick, I won't say his name, but he actually quit, went home, and his mother sent him back. He quit during training camp. His mother actually sent him back and said, "No, you can't quit. You know, you got a great opportunity." So he came back and finished, but he wasn't drafted that particular year with me, but he was a second-round draft pick that happened to be with the Lions. And, I mean, that's how that coaching staff was. And at the Lions, Kevin Colbert was, I forgot what he was, but then he transitioned over to Pittsburgh. And Coach Cowher told him they were looking for a good backup special team safety. Kevin Colbert told him all about me, and that's how I ended up in Pittsburgh. And that organization, I mean, I'm a fan still to this day. It's not because I played for them. It's because of the organization and the leadership that we had in the locker room. It was totally different than what I saw in Detroit. I mean, Coach Cowher was a player's coach. There'd be days where we're tired and we just like, hey, JB, we'll go to the bus. We call him JB. Go to the bus. Hey, JB, man, we're a little tired today. Can you talk to Coach Cowher? He'll go to Cowher and say, hey, they're tired, coach. Can you help us out with practice? And he'll be like, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to do this individual. We'll go to team. We're going to run our script. And if y'all do it right, we're going to leave. And we'll be gone in 30, 45 minutes, all because he wanted to make sure that we're fresh and ready to play. So it was a top-notch organization, still is. Man, I got so much respect for the Rooneys. They're not one of those owners. I live in Dallas. So, I hear about Jerry Jones all the time. Met met Jerry Jones and meet him all the time because I work for the Cowboys part-time also. It's totally different. The Rooneys are standoffish. Of course, they respect you. You know, they have their office above the fields. They'll sit up there, they'll watch practice and everything, but they don't come and interfere with what Coach Cowher had to do. But after each game, each win, the Rooneys would come around and shake your hand and tell you good job after each win. And they'll tell everybody that if this is lost, they let the coaches do what they need to and they stay where they're at. But it is a top-notch organization, very professional. I'm happy that I was able to play with them.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, from Detroit to Pittsburgh, those are completely different franchises.
It is.
Was there a lot of pressure playing for Pittsburgh, like that you felt like you had to show up? Because I've heard people in the past, former Pittsburgh Steelers, say that they felt a lot of pressure playing for that organization.
You do feel pressure because it's a winning organization. I mean, and you got leaders in there that expect to win, especially when you come in on defense. Pittsburgh is known for their defense. So being a person on that defense, you have to be ready and be alert. I'll never forget the first time I went in with the first team reps in practice. It was at a game actually. And being a free safety, a lot of people don't understand that free safety is the quarterback on defense. You make all the calls, you make all the checks. And that's one of the reasons Kevin Colbert brought me to Pittsburgh, because there's not too many safeties that can go out and make all the checks and do all that. So you got to be pretty unique. You got to be an intelligent football player. So we were in the game, and I remember they were in one formation. They went in motion, went to a whole different formation, which it changed the strength from the right to the left. And I'm sitting there, and, this is my first time there with the first defense, and I'm looking at these top-notch linebackers, which are the best in the NFL, and all four of them just turn around. Joey Porter, I have LeVon Kirkland, Earl Holmes, and then Jason Gilder. They all turn around, look at me. I'm like, what do y'all want? They were like, make the damn call. I'm like, oh, my bad. I forgot. I'm in the middle of it. I made the call and we got where we need to be, but it was pretty nervous at the beginning. But once I got kind of comfortable being around those guys, it's just when you respect them that much and you're mesmerized by how great these players are, you get in there and play with them, man, that's a spectacular feeling right there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all of those guys are legends. Like Joey Porter, he was a dog.
That's still my boy right there. We talk all the time, man. Whenever I go to Pittsburgh, I make sure I let him know what games I'm coming to so we can hang out a little bit. His son's wearing my number, so I'm very happy for that. But yeah, Joey's a good guy, man. When I first came to Pittsburgh, he was one of the first people I met. We've been close ever since.
Yeah.
Growing up, what was your favorite NFL team?
It was actually the 49ers. I'm still a 49ers fan. That's still my second favorite team. I was 49ers. That's back when I actually, even though I played safety, I wore number 80 because of Jerry Rice. So I was probably the only free safety in high school with the number 80 on back there playing. But I was a 49ers fan, watching Ronnie Lott play back there on defense, and Jerry Rice and Tom Rathman and everybody. So, Montana, then going over to Steve. So that was my favorite team growing up. So I've never been a Cowboys fan, never will be.
Yeah, so you said you're a 49ers fan. Where do you rank Montana as like the GOAT quarterback?
Man, I can't go against Tom Brady. Brady's got to be the GOAT. Montana right now I think is number 2, but if Pat Mahomes keep on like he is, or Patrick, he doesn't like to be, or his mom don't want to call Pat. Patrick Mahomes keeps on. I think he can pass both of them, but he has a ways to go. Brady was a great quarterback. He won with some good receivers, and he won some that didn't have very many good receivers. So you have to respect him, how good that guy was and how great he was and all the winning that he did. But I was fortunate enough I got to play against him in college when we played against Michigan. He was a backup quarterback at the time, but he came into the game. It was the year they won the national championship with Woodson. So we played against them that year they won the national championship. So I got to meet him in college and then again once we got to the NFL.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, I couldn't imagine playing against Tom Brady. Even if he was the backup, that's like, when you put that in perspective, that's crazy.
Yeah, people forget that Brian Griese was a starter and he was the backup. And I mean, they had like I said, they won national championship. They tied with Nebraska that year. We happened to play Nebraska and we played Michigan in the same year. And both of them tied for the national championship. And trust me, those are some great teams right there.
Oh, yeah. I got a special place in my heart for Brian Griese because Bob Griese got us our 2 Super Bowls right up here.
True.
So my brother Paul is a gigantic Steelers fan, and he wanted me to ask you this question. What was your definition of the Steeler way?
Doing things the right way, being accountable. That's one of the first things that I'm telling you. JB was a true leader, and he'll come tell you, "Hey, I can teach you how to be a great player on and off the field. Whether you listen or not is up to you. But I will tell you what you need to do to be successful, and you do what you need to because you're a grown man. But they'll hold you accountable. You know, if somebody was out of line or a player's out of line, coaches didn't have to take care of that. Players did that. We did. Our leaders took care of that stuff. One of the things that Coach Cowher said when he got there is, you know, we do not condition. You are a professional. You need to be in shape. If you need to run after practice, whatever you need to do, you need to hold yourself accountable, do what you need to do to be ready to play. So they teach you and tell you how to be a professional, and whether you do it or not is up to you. But everybody's gonna hold you accountable. You got to be ready to take on what you need to.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's always fun to watch them. I mean, they haven't had a losing season in 19 years. The greatness that they have, I mean, right now they're like going 10-7, but they keep winning. I don't understand how they continue to win. Mike Tomlin is probably one of the best coaches in the league right now. What are your current thoughts on Mike Tomlin? Because I know people have been saying maybe he should go because they haven't won playoff games, I believe, since 2016. But there's also a lot of people in the fan base who say he hasn't had a losing season. Why would we ever let him go?
And my other thing is, no, he hasn't won a playoff game in a while, but you also have to look at the quarterbacks that he's been playing with. It's unbelievable for him to win with the quarterbacks. The last 3 years of Roethlisberger's season wasn't the greatest. He wasn't being Roethlisberger of the old. And then every quarterback he's had ever since, Mason Rudolph, Duck, and all these quarterbacks, he hasn't had a legit quarterback, but they still find a way to win and have a winning record. So you have to respect that. And I mean, and the players are going to go out there and play for him. So whether do I think he needs to be fired? Heck no. That's a great coach. I mean, trust me. I mean, the Bears called and wanted to make trades for him. There was other teams that want Tomlin. There's plenty of players. There's a lot of people that don't like Pittsburgh. When I talk to them, they might not like Pittsburgh as an organization, but they say, I haven't met not one person that did not respect Mike Tomlin, which you have to respect that guy and what he does. He's not going to be perfect. He doesn't make every decision. Every decision he makes isn't perfect, but he has him ready to win and gives him opportunity to win. So, man, that's a heck of a coach right there.
Yeah. I mean, he's clearly one of the best coaches of all time just from what he's done. I think he's borderline top 10 right now for sure. One thing that staying in the AFC East, it's been the Chiefs for, I mean, in the AFC, it's been the Chiefs conference for the past 6, 7, 8 years. Who do you think is going to come out on top next year? Because the Buffalo Bills are rising. The Houston Texans can always go. I mean, there's a bunch of wild card teams like the Bengals.
Oh, man, if Bengals get a defense, they might be the scariest team, honestly. Whenever we play the Bengals, that's when I'm most nervous about us winning because it's like they have every offensive weapon they need. T. Higgins just said that he doesn't want to lead the Bengals. That hurts us in our division. If they get their defense to even be average, they don't even have to be a great defense, just be average because their offense is going to put up almost 30 points every game. So I think they're the most deadly. They've proven to be the team that can take Kansas City out, that can score with Kansas City. They just need an average defense that can hold a team to 21, 24 points. And trust me, the Bengals, I think, will be the one coming out next year. Unfortunately, I don't want that to happen, but that's a great team right there. If they can get a couple more things on defense and get that taken care of, I know they fired the defensive coordinator, get a new one in and get them pieces around them, they'll be a dangerous team.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering, what was it like playing in the AFC North, which, I mean, is widely known as one of the most competitive divisions of all time?
When I played, we had Jacksonville Jaguars as part of it. You know, they just became a team, so they were in there with us. Tennessee was part of it, so you're dealing with Steve in there. You're dealing with Eddie George. Back then, Cincinnati had Corey Dillon. Jacksonville had Fred Taylor. We had some of the best running backs you ever going to see, and then you had the Ravens. So they were. It was pretty competitive. The thing about it is, I remember the first time we played the Baltimore Ravens, they were like, hey, you better put your big pads on. It's going to be physical. And just watching that game live right there on the sideline and playing in that game, man, it was spectacular. I mean, Pittsburgh and Ravens always going to have that. They're very similar to us. They have always keep a great defense. They're going to be physical. They like to run the ball. They're very similar to us, and so it was difficult. But man, when I was playing, they had so many great backs back to back. You never could take a week off. You had to be ready to stop the run at that time. I mean, every team had a great back, just like we had the bus. But man, it was competitive. It was tough. And trust me, it took you to probably Wednesday before your body just started feeling better. So, I mean, we had to get at least massages 2 or 3 times a week just so you can be able to compete on that level.
Yo, yeah, I mean,
not the Deshaun Watson massages, but a real massage.
Oh, dude, the Browns are really struggling over there. I mean, now that Deshaun Watson is pretty much over, his tenure's over, they are struggling with cap space now. They can't cut him because of all the guarantees. It would literally it would ruin their team.
Yep. Too much.
But I don't know what they're going to do because, like, they have no other option but to have him on the roster.
Oh yeah, even when your best player is ready to leave, you know there's a problem. When Garrett was ready, when he's trying to get out of there, you know there's a problem, and he sees it. And that guy's been loyal to them, and he wants to get out of there. Yeah, there's a problem in that dressing room.
Yeah, I mean, he's a partial owner of the Cavaliers, so.
Who is?
Myles Garrett.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy that he wants to leave. Sticking with the current NFL, who do you think is the best safety in the league right now?
It's tough.
Yeah.
Man, and the reason is I don't watch too much football other than my Steelers, really. I don't watch a lot of other teams unless they playing us, so I couldn't even tell you, to be honest.
I mean, Mika Fitzpatrick's not that bad of an answer.
But I didn't want to seem like a homer. Now, if you want to ask me who the best safety ever who I thought played, Sean Taylor.
Ooh, Sean Taylor.
If he wouldn't have passed away, that guy would probably be the best safety ever to play the game. I mean, and man, he can hit you, he can cover. I mean, he can play free, he can play strong. You can put him anywhere you want it. And that guy was a heck of a safety.
Yeah, I mean, he really was like incredible. I mean, that Pro Bowl hit was insane. Oh, yeah. He's a dog for sure. One of my questions also for you was about the AFC North and just the physicality of it. Like, you guys said that you would have like 2-3 weeks until your body was feeling better. How different is like one of the AFC North games compared to just any other game?
Man, it's just more physical, honestly. Like, for instance, we played the Raiders at the time. That's when they had Charles Woodson was receiver. Tim Brown was over there receiver. They had a couple other receivers. I mean, they were just fast. So it was easy. I mean, you make your job a lot easier as long as you're fast and cover people like that. They wasn't trying to come at you. In the AFC North at that time, you had fullbacks. And I mean, when you got to take over Lorenzo Neal, and then once he blocks you, then you got to get off that block, try to go tackle Eddie George or Steve McNair. Man, that's a hard task right there. Just taking on Lorenzo Neal by himself was difficult. So they had those fullbacks, and you knew what play they're going to run. You just got to stop it. And, I mean, you're going to be a lot more physical than when you played other teams. I played Minnesota when what's his name? Receiver. Randy Moss. Randy Moss.
Yeah,
Randy Moss. When they were over there. Now, that was just a bunch of speed. It wasn't very physical, but it was a lot easier game for a defensive back. But when we played AFC North, you had to play more like a linebacker rather than a safety.
Wow, that's super interesting. I mean, just playing against Randy Moss, I feel like that'd be such a big task, but I completely understand that. I see every year the AFC North has super physical matchups. What do you think the biggest rivalry is in the AFC North?
Oh, Baltimore-Pittsburgh. It doesn't get any better than that right there. I get hype every time I watch that game. I mean, getting ready for that game. I have some friends that play for Baltimore. I call them. They call me. We text. We talk trash. But that's the biggest rivalry by far. It's not even close, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree as well because just every single time they play, except for the most recent two, it's always low scoring. I feel like it's always like a 18-15 game or like low touchdowns. They really shut down Lamar. They know how to shut down Lamar, which is something that no one else in the league can do really, which I think is a testament to Mike Tomlin. But when it comes to your team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have a problem this year with Najee Harris. Do you think that they should stick with Najee Harris, or do you think they should move on?
I think they should move on, honestly. But last 2 years, I think he's played well. He's played a lot better than he did when he started as a rookie than the other years. But I think it's better to move on. Our second string running back, I think, to me, was more effective in our scheme. I don't think he's a bad running back. He just might not be fit for our scheme. Go somewhere else, probably have a different type of running style, different type of offense. He might be more successful. But I don't think we should spend a lot of money with Najee Harris and keep him. I think we should move on. Not like I said, not saying he's a bad running back, but we can go get someone a lot cheaper that could be just as effective as he is.
Speaking on the current Pittsburgh Steelers, what do you think their biggest need is going into the offseason?
Offensive line, I think, is huge. And towards the end of the year, I think that's what hurt us. And I think we had injuries on the offensive line. So maybe if we just get them healthy, at the beginning, I think we only had one lineman at the end of the year that started off. The rest of them was ended up getting injured, something like that. And I think that's the biggest difference towards the end of the year because Russ wasn't getting very much time to throw the ball. I mean, they were getting on him pretty quick. And I think and I don't care who you are. If you want to win, it starts in the trenches. You got to have a good offensive line, good defensive line. Eagles showed that on the Super Bowl. They didn't blitz not one time. They had 4 legit D linemen that pressured Patrick Mahomes all day long. So that's where it starts. If you can get that D line and O line going, I'm telling you, it's a whole different world.
Great.
Yep, go ahead.
A great example of that is, the Chicago Bears last offseason, they loaded up on offensive talent. But you could tell from that first game of the season that O-line was not built for the moment, and that's really where their season went downhill.
It is. If you don't have O-line, I don't care what. You can have the best quarterback in the world. And, man, that's where it starts at in the trenches. You got to have that. If you don't have that O-line, everything else will take care of itself.
Yeah. What camp are you in? Did you really enjoy watching the Chiefs get destroyed, or did you think it was a bad game?
I enjoyed it because I'm a defensive player. Man, that Eagles defense looked spectacular. That's why some people watch games, and I see games that's 13-7, 13-10. I'm like, man, it's a terrible game. No, I'm a defensive player. That's what I like to see, is great defense to go out there and play. I don't like to see 30-35 games, man. To me, that sucks. But I want to see great defense, getting after it, laying the hat, hitting people, flying around, having fun. And that's what the Eagles did. So, hey, that's my type of game right there. And then at the same time, Kansas City has a great defense. They didn't have as many breaks as normal, but I enjoyed that game.
Yeah, it was still a pretty good game. At one point, it was 34-0, which is ridiculous for the Super Bowl. Did you think a defensive lineman should have won Super Bowl MVP or Cooper DeJean, or do you agree with the Jalen Hurts Super Bowl MVP?
Definitely not the Jalen Hurts. I think they gave it to him being the quarterback, and it was so even. So many people made plays. It's hard to make a decision to just say this one person. So I think they went safe and gave it to the quarterback. But, man, I would give it to one of them defensive linemen. Sweat, that guy was in the backfield all day long. 2-3 people blocking me, still getting to the quarterback. Man, I was enjoying seeing that, man. A good D-line. I tell you, when you're back at free safety, you can see everything that happens in front of you. And I used to see where holes open up real wide. You'd be like, dang, oh, crap, I got to go up and make this play. And nobody stopped him. But you can see when a good D lineman or nose guard makes a heck of a pass rush and get to the back. It's the prettiest thing in the world when you're back there at free safety watching that happen, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in another deal right now at quarterback. Do you agree with letting Russ go and keeping Fields, or do you think they should try to make something happen in the draft?
I think Fields is a good one to keep. We do need to try to find something else, see if someone's out there. Fields he's gun shy. He's scared to let that ball go. Guys are open. He's scared to throw it, I think, because he's trying to be safe, not turn it over, because they're probably preaching to him. If you don't turn it over, our defense can take care of it and get us there. Just keep the ball going and keep moving and getting first downs. And I think he's a little gun shy. So I'm hoping if he signs with us, going through another offseason, the same offense. At the same time, I think our offense was kind of stale. You don't see a lot of motion. You don't see a lot of movement in our offense like you see other teams and everything, a lot of crossers and things like that. So I think if we had a younger offensive coordinator that can kind of open up a little bit, I think that'll help also. So there's some things they can look at, but hey, I don't get paid for it. That's Tomlin. That's Tomlin's fault. That's on him.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you see, like recently with I'm just gonna use my Buffalo Bills motion since we're going from Ken Dorsey to Joe Brady. Brady uses a lot of motion, and we just
Yes.
had the greatest, or one of our greatest offenses of all time for our team, and it was all motion and crossers. It really shows you where the
Yes.
NFL has come with making an offense.
When I'm telling you on defense, a lot of motion, a lot of movement and crossers. That's how you confuse and get people open. When you watch Pittsburgh games, it's almost every time my receivers catch a ball, there's a defensive back on them. Then I watch other teams and they're wide open receivers getting passes and wide open, and we're able to run after the catch. So it's got to be something where you can change up that offense. Well, Arthur Smith probably has outgrown his time. Probably needs to move on to get a new one, a young one person in there that's ready to change things up a little bit.
Yeah, and how do you feel about Fields? Because he's an Ohio State fan, so I just want to know what his thoughts are.
I really like Fields. I mean, he has a great arm. I think those years in Chicago kind of ruined his confidence a little bit.
Yep.
I'd like Pittsburgh to re-sign him. I want Justin to get another chance. I just hope that Chicago didn't really ruin his confidence and that he can come back stronger.
That's why I say if he can get another offseason in there with us, I think it'll help him out a lot. To build his confidence, because you can tell he was getting a little bit more into it, but then Russ came in and he was playing well, so that kind of ended that. But he get another year in the organization, building his confidence up and getting him ready. I think he can be effective.
Yeah, I mean, Justin was one of our greatest quarterbacks of all time, and it's really hasn't had that much success in the NFL. That really just shows you that Bears organization they weren't giving him any favors.
Nah, where you go is huge. I mean, that could make or break you where you go. So, like I said about the Lions organization, that was the year. Matter of fact, that was the year that Barry Sanders retired. So that tells you how bad it was. Barry Sanders walked off while he was in his prime. So, being in the right situation, right organization can mean a whole lot to a player.
Yeah, what was the recruitment process coming out of high school to college? What was that like for you?
I was the number one defensive back in the nation at the time. I don't know how they found me, but somehow I was a number 17 recruit, number 11, number 17 in the nation. Number 11 was actually some guy y'all might know, Peyton Manning. He was number 11. Matter of fact, I'll send y'all the list. I have it in my phone. I'll send it to you on Twitter so y'all can see it.
Wow, yeah, definitely send us that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so what I'm telling you is the actual truth. It was. And I took visits to Notre Dame, Michigan, Florida State, Tennessee, and Baylor. So I wasn't planning on staying in Texas. I was going to leave. I actually committed to Tennessee. Peyton Manning, I was on the same visit. Philip Fulmer, and I committed to Tennessee. And I was going to go to Tennessee. And that's pretty much where I was going and everything. I had T-shirts, Tennessee T-shirts. I was ready. Everybody knew I was going. But my mother got sick. And she kept getting sicker, and I didn't know how much longer I had with her. So the day before I was supposed to go sign my letter of intent, I called Philip Fulmer, told him I wasn't coming, and I called Baylor, told him I was coming to Baylor. And the head coach called him and then one other coach. He was like, hold on, we're going to be in Cleveland tonight, so we can make sure you sign first thing in the morning. Because they didn't believe I was really going to sign an All-American going to Baylor. So, but it was kind of, man, my first day that they could actually come to the school, I didn't go to class at all. I mean, I was in the counselor office and just had coaches just lined up out the door. And as one walked out, another one just walked in. And that's how I spent my whole day when they were able to come to the school. Same thing the first day I was able to call. That was back when, y'all didn't know. That was back before cell phones. They only had home phones. Had call waiting on the home phone. And I'm sitting there talking to one and then another beep in and another beep in. And it was just all day just talking on the phone that first time they can call me. And man, it was kind of overwhelming because I've never had anybody big recruited like that. Cleaver's never had anybody recruited that big. And my mom, she's never been experienced anything like this. So nobody in my family ever been to college, so they didn't know what questions to ask. We didn't know the right questions to ask. So I had to learn throughout the process and make my decision that I did. So I was proud that I went to Baylor. Even though Peyton Manning and I made plans that he was going to be the quarterback on offense, I was going to be quarterback on defense. We were going to run the SEC together, and we should talk about it all the time. But unfortunately, I didn't go there. But I remember we played Indianapolis in Mexico, and we was in the elevator. I didn't think Peyton remembered me. He was like, "Man, aren't you the one who was on the visit? I forgot your name." And we talked a little bit while I was in Mexico City, but it was kind of cool that Peyton still remembered who I was, even though I went a different direction than what we talked about.
Wow, that's awesome. And what was it like talking to like all these top recruits and coaches, or not recruits, sorry, coaches and all of these head coaches that are like, honestly, it's kind of intimidating. Like, because even though like talking to like even D3, it's like still a college coach. It's the next level. How did you go about that?
Man, honestly, I was nervous. I think the most I was nervous when I talked to Lou Holtz. You know, that's one of the most infamous coaches in college football ever still to this day, but especially back then. I mean, that guy was, man, everybody, even my high school coaches couldn't believe that I was talking to Lou Holtz. I remember they were flying into Texas, they were going to play A&M in the Cotton Bowl, and he called me. He was on the plane. It was, back then, I'll tell you, it was weird for them to have a phone on a plane, and he calls me. He's like, what are you, talking to me? Asked me, do I want to go to the Cotton Bowl? I said, heck yeah. He said, all right, I'm going to send you I'm going to have some tickets ready for you at wheel call for you. But, I mean, talking to a coach like that, it was the most nervous thing in the world. And like I said, in the beginning, I didn't know what questions to ask. And little by little, I started understanding what I wanted, what type of coach I want to play for, what type of school I want to play for. And that's kind of how I narrowed it down. And everything. But it was a growing process, and which has helped out with my son that's in college, a freshman in college now, got recruited. It made his process so much easier because I knew the things to look for, questions to ask, and it was a lot easier for him doing this process because I've been through it.
Wow. Yeah, and where does your son go now?
My son's a basketball player at University of Texas. He's a Longhorn, man. So he's a freshman. Yeah, he's a freshman. He's getting about 5 to 10 minutes a game, so he's doing real well. He's a little taller than me. I'm 6'3", he's 6'9", so he makes me look like a midget over here, man. A short
6'9".
person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
He's a whole foot taller than me.
Oh yeah, he took visits to U of H, took visits to Auburn, Miami, Virginia Tech, LSU, TCU, and UT. Came down between Auburn and UT, and he ended up choosing UT.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, yep.
Dang,
that's ridiculous. Wow. So I think I saw you have football camps, right?
I do. So I'm the head coach for the Cowboys youth football camps organization, actually. So we do a lot of different things, but we do a lot of camps in the summertime when the kids are available from first grade through eighth grade, first grade through eighth grade. We do that, whenever kids are out of school, like spring break. We do a holiday camp, but the majority of our camps are 3-day camps that we do in the summertime. We do it at AT&T Stadium or at the Star, which is the Cowboys practice facility. So we do all our camps in there. 75% of the coaches that coach with the camps are former NFL players. So we got a bunch of former NFL players that help out with the camps. So the kids learn a lot. So, I mean, it's kind of getting them on the ground floor. These are a lot of kids that probably never played football or played little to no football. And so we get them at the ground floor trying to teach them just the mechanics, the right way to play the game of football. And right now, outside of that, we're actually transitioning where we're starting to do high school girls flag.
Oh, yeah.
Flag. So if you notice with NFL, you see a lot of girls flag commercials because that's a big initiative for the NFL. So different teams have had it for over the years. We started ours about 3 years ago. And we started with probably I think 8 or 9 teams. Now we're up to like 45 different teams. We had 3 girls that actually got scholarships to play in college because there are some small colleges that do girls flag. They're like D2, D3 schools, but they give scholarships. So we had 3 girls that actually got scholarships to go play college flag football. So that's a big initiative that we're doing right now. We're about to kick that off in April. The season actually starts in April. We're going to have a meeting with the coaches in 2 weeks. And everything, we're about to get this thing going. The NFL is really big on girls flag football. And that's what we're focusing on at this point outside of our youth football camps.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's another great thing.
Yeah. Girls flag football is a growing sport. I mean, even our school, I think our first year was last year. We got it into our school now, which it's kind of crazy because like this is a really, really new sport. So like, can you go a little bit more in depth with like how they're doing that?
So the NFL, the good things, the NFL is paying for, all the flags, all the balls. They're paying for the equipment, the uniforms, and all that stuff. They just want the teams to get out in the community and then reach out to the schools. So it's a little difficult for us to get teams to agree to it because, first of all, you got to get players that want to play. So when we reach out to athletic directors at different schools and asking them, hey, are y'all interested in this? And can we meet with y'all and talk to y'all about starting a girls flag football? First, you got to get them to buy in and do that. But they also have to allocate money for extra coach because you got to have coaches. They got to pay them a stipend to coach those ladies. So it's been an uphill battle for the last 3 years. This will be the 4th year, but it's coming around. It's coming around, and they're really buying into it. And I think with these 40-something different teams we have, I think others are going to start joining in and once they see this. And it's a great thing. And I can tell you that we've done a couple camps to help these young ladies out. We've done some camps to actually teach some of their coaches, the different coverages and different offenses and things like that. And it's coming around pretty good. But it's been an uphill battle, trying to convince those athletic directors to do it and them trying to find coaches to coach it. But it's starting to work out. It's getting a lot better now.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome. Hey, I really appreciate you coming on. I mean, we were super excited to have you, and it was a really good time.
I appreciate it. Hey, y'all, good luck. Hey, I was a communication major now. Remember that.
Oh, yeah.
That's my son also.
Oh, really? He's a communications major too?
He is. He already talked to, I got a guy in Austin. He's a Texas alum. He has 7 Emmys for ESPN, and he's offered him an internship. So he's going to be interning with him pretty soon and everything. So he's gotten a lot of things set up, man.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he's set. I mean, got the internship. That's awesome. And his hook 'em horns.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. And everyone, his Twitter is going to be in the description. Go follow him. He posts on there, so make sure to follow him.
All right,
thank you so much, man.
You're welcome.
All right, like, comment, subscribe. Peace, guys.